University.
Welcome back to the Pro Reports, and I'm joined now in studio by two guests. On my far right from the Asian Human Rights Commission is Wong Kai-sheng. Welcome.
Hello.
And to my immediate right is Mary Leung, who is a council member at the Society for Truth and Light, also a social work consultant and part-time lecturer. Mary, why does the Society for Truth and Light want to be teaching human rights in Hong Kong?
I think the initiative was not with the society. It's more like the Education Commission. They have a track record of a lot of partnership with us, and we have produced many curriculum package like on gambling, on sex education, and so forth. So this time we put in a bid because they opened up a course in human rights, and then as usual we would go about and see if they would select us to run the course. So we did.
Now the Society for Truth and Light perhaps has a different interpretation of human rights than what we might call the international standard. There's a fair bit of emphasis on responsibility that goes with rights, and this idea of a sort of an abuse of rights and the dangers that might fall to society with that. What kind of trouble is there if there is this so-called abuse of human rights?
I think that it is not only the society which has this view. I think when you talk about something as broad as human rights, one needs to take into the context of the individual society, and the fact that because there's great variation, and it's no point putting out all this definition on rights to the youngster or the teachers when in fact our society doesn't allow for those things. So there needs to be some kind of adjustment. Now, I think that for most of us, I think we are aware that there should be a balanced treatment, both between rights and responsibility, as well as between the rights of the individual and the state, and also vice versa. I think it's best if the two can go together.
Kai-sheng, should we be emphasizing rights first or responsibilities first, or some sort of mix of the two?
I don't think there's a contradiction. The basis is respect human rights. And what we are advocating for is human rights should be the basic value, and it's come with the systems, rule of law, democratic societies, autoritarian societies. And that require all peoples, including individuals, and especially the state to take responsibility to protect them. So the problem is, in the past, we have many violations of human rights in the history. That's why we have this human rights movement, and why the human rights standards being put in place to protect the people. And what I feel is more important now in the world, as experienced Asia, we have to protect people's rights rather than say abuse it. Because as right is protected, people respect each other. And the conflict of views don't mean conflicts of right, because you have the right for you to protect yourself, to express yourself. And that's what we emphasize on. We respect rights of different people, and we have different views, and we can discuss.
In Hong Kong, there is a conflict of views right now on whether sexual minorities should be protected under law, an anti-discrimination law. The STL has a strong viewpoint on this, saying that a law would be too much. Why is that?
Well, I think that the society fully respects the individual's right to choose their lifestyle, whether that be homosexual or heterosexual. I think many of us, even in the council, are working in the service sector as social worker, teachers, or as principal, or as psychiatrists, and we all, have experience with meeting up with individuals, and we fully respect their rights. The thing that we are standing up against is the law situation, because we felt that the government at this particular stage do have mechanism. They put money in to help these individual homosexual people to come out for help and to actually get access to services and counseling or whatever else they need, information. And I think, in a way, it's reflecting the actual view of the society. To think about changing the law, we have to think about consequences for the rest of the society. For example, people might not be able to speak out against the danger of homosexual lifestyle or some of the factual things that might come about when one chooses, so that people are not able to think fully, especially youngsters. I think that's what we're objecting to.
Kai-sheng, should there be protection? Is there the danger of a sort of discrimination that shouldn't exist in a place where human rights are observed?
I think when you need protection, it means there's discrimination. So we agree on the fact that there's discriminations against the sexual minorities in such a case, that we should have measures to protect them. What we mean by discrimination is the fundamental principles of human rights, non-discrimination. What the ideas behind it is every individual, only as a human, he has all those rights he can enjoy, not because of the different so-called race or identity, status. You can have the power to take away their right. It is not acceptable under human rights. So in this case, if the gay right or people are being discriminated in terms of they are being treated less favorably, it's very important. When we mean discrimination, is to have legal meanings. It means sufferings. It means when they are being treated unequally because of that reason, they are discriminated. They are suffer, like in education or in getting job or in many social way of life, then they are suffering, and this kind of we call discrimination. As a human being, we should protect them. I think that is as simple as that when we're talking about human rights.
In that case, though, in Hong Kong's case, is this occurring, this kind of discrimination? Are people subject to being terminated from jobs or not getting a flat, for instance, to rent because the landlord or the employer may be aware of their sexual orientation and not agree with it?
I think there's some research by some of the concerned group, and I think this situation also, because of this, the nature of the problem. You know, as sexual minorities, they hesitate to reveal their sexual orientation. So it's somehow difficult in that sense to discover that. But in a way, I think in the world discussion, you will find that's happening. And in Hong Kong, there's cases that reflect by many concerns groups that happening. And we should concern on this way in terms of non-discrimination. People have different moral values on different ways of life. But what freedom or human rights important is provide a base for people to express their will. And then you can discuss with others, you can criticize others can disagree with you. But the most important thing, you're being protected in a way to express your will and then to argue reasonably and in a way to solve the problem.
I think that, we have to, other than balancing between the state and individual and rights and responsibility, I think one have to be also careful about the fact that, if the law really becomes a reality, there might be the limitation of expression against the lifestyle of homosexuality. I think that has happened in Canada.
That's a private thing, though, right?
Private thing. Well, I think people get fired from speaking up to people.
This is a sort of a reverse discrimination.
That's right. That's right. And that, I think we thought it would be, but then, cases in other countries showed us that that's not true. And I think the thing about what Mr. Wong was saying, I think the key point is whether the person is in fact discriminated because of that particular, sexual orientation or whatever, or he's let go because other things. We all know the situation about the pregnant woman not wanting to go to work because she's protected by law. We cannot fire them, I think there's the danger of, it's very difficult to differentiate, when a homosexual person come up and say...
I think that somehow, I think we need to really look into what mean by discrimination, how it
I think it needs to be very much sought out.
In terms of the experience of those law against sexual discriminations and all these things, that's in this case really show that the employers or people, they have many other reasons to set a woman's or anything, but in case turn out to be because they are pregnant or because they have other in terms of race, and that happens. So I think we have to look in that sense. The law protection is very important in that sense. And I think in terms of discussions, we can have different ideas to present. But the ideas of reverse discrimination, I think behind there's a problem of we have the right to discriminate others. And if you don't have that right, I don't think there's reverse discrimination.
I'm afraid.